That was the first thing to sell out. It was so confusing.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, Dr.
And then
Johnson, we just got woke, basically.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I go to a meeting with some of my colleagues. I said, did I miss a memo? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, I didn't buy tissue paper. Well, everybody's buying tissue paper. Should I go get tissue paper? And they were like, we don't understand this concept of tissue paper that is going out of style.
Yeah.
People are buying it and they were fighting. And then
it was amazing. Like, oh man, like I can't
that's
even.
misinformation. If you ask people till tomorrow, why did you go buy tissue paper?
They won't be able to answer that.
Yeah. But they bought a lot in their warehouse.
Yeah, people were selling it on Kijiji. I can't even
like. You buy 3, I'll give you 1 for free.
Exactly. Oh man, like
so, because of that misinformation, somebody will just come up and say, oh, once you get this vaccine, you start growing horns.
Oh my goodness.
Then everybody say, oh God. And then I say, oh, so there's a lot of conspiracy theories.
This tissue paper business is an excellent way to help us understand why we really need to stop confusing this whole RNA and DNA thing. Like, we just need to stop with it already, because like you said, if we go ask all the people who bought the tissue paper right now, I don't think they have any reason. As a matter of fact, they probably don't. They have no clue who told them to go buy all those tissue paper. And what are they using it for today?
Yeah, they saw their neighbor buying tissue paper. Oh, you've not bought tissue paper. Oh, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I had people tell me that.
I can't give you this for my family. We don't know how long we're going to use the tissue paper for. And then the person got out of panic, start begging. People are driving from shopping mall to shopping mall looking for tissue paper. Everybody was buying tissue paper. And you go to Walmart, you go to everywhere.
It was sold out. There was no toilet paper anywhere. In today's episode, we're talking about a hot topic, the COVID-19 vaccine, and addressing some of the concerns and worries that has surfaced around getting the vaccine. And this has been ongoing. A lot of people are concerned about getting the vaccine, and I just thought it's a good idea to talk about it with medical practitioner. And with me today is a medical doctor, Dr. Johnson Fatogu, who is an experienced family physician and practices here in Alberta. So welcome, Dr. Johnson. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me on your program too.
Yeah. Thank you. So we've reached Dr. Johnson today in his office, in the clinic. What are you doing for stuff, Dr. Johnson? Crazy
I'm doing very well.
These are busy
times. Really.
Yeah.
It's one of those crazy times and very uncertain time as well, because there's a lot of back and forth when it comes to this vaccine, when it comes to the virus. There's a lot of anxiety around it. You have to put measures in place to make sure everybody is safe. People who come to your office, you have to ensure safety. Those who can't come, who are anxious about it, you have to still provide care for them. So sometimes you see some of our colleagues and myself work late, making phone calls to consult, make sure patient gets their care, even if they don't want to leave their house. So crazy times.
So what do you? So I want to ask you then, like you said, these are very uncertain times, challenging times. What are you doing for self-care as a doctor? Like, what are you doing to stay motivated? You know?
For me, I'm into so many things. But what keeps me motivated, I try to go for walks when I'm free. I try to go for walks. I make sure I eat well. I have good food. Do a lot.
So basically, no pounded yam every day.
No, no pounded yam every day. But good food and then rest well. And any opportunity not to work, I take it. Any holiday, rest.
Absolutely.
Because yes, it never ends. Now patient can text you because they have to get access. So they text you, they call you. So you have to find downtime. So my own downtime is any opportunity I go for walks. Any opportunity I just sit in a quiet room, switch off everything, keep my phone away, and take a deep breath.
Perfect. Well, I want you to tell us a little bit more about yourself, and just let's get to know a little bit more about Dr. Johnson.
Okay, for me, I'm a family physician, like you said. I currently run my practice from Fort Saskatchewan.
Okay.
My area of interest, apart from being a family physician, I also enjoy seniors' health. So I do home visit, home care to seniors, and that really helped during the COVID when they couldn't leave the comfort of their home.
Yes.
So they were able to get complete care, lovely care. And also, I'm a pastor.
Yeah.
I'm a lead pastor for RCCG Place of Rest in Fort Saskatchewan. Currently, also, I'm the national youth pastor for young adults for the whole country of Canada.
Wow. Okay. I knew you were a youth pastor because, you mentored me when I was going to Rema Chapel for those in Edmonton. But I didn't know you were like the pastor for all of Canada?
Yeah,
the youth pastor for all of Canada.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now I'm getting another higher assignment for the continent of America.
Oh, congratulations.
Well, it's a lot of work. I enjoy doing that. And I'm into a number of community service as well. I volunteer with different organizations, Ribbon Rouge. I run some non-governmental organization back in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I have an organization called Mercy Foundation, where I take care of HIV/AIDS orphans, send them through school. I've done that for 10 years.
So how do you do that in these times? So like, how do you manage that HIV?
The good thing, HIV in Africa is that these are orphans. Their parents have died.
Okay.
So I support them. I have a foundation there. I have somebody that oversees that.
Okay.
So I kind of send fundings across, make sure they get anything they need for school. So those are the little things, and I spend time with my wife. I'm married.
I don't know about little things. I don't think it's little at all. That's a lot. And so hence the reason why I asked about self-care in the beginning is to make sure that, our listeners know that no matter how busy you are, you need to find time to take care of yourself. So it's amazing that you're doing all this wonderful things, but you need to prioritize yourself first. So let me start out by saying thank you to you as a frontline worker and all the frontline workers who will be listening to this podcast. Thank you so much for your service, especially in this very uncertain, unprecedented times. Thank you so much. So before we you're welcome. Yeah. Before we go right into the conversation, I do want to say that a little bit of a disclaimer. I want to remind our audience that we're not trying to diagnose anyone here on this podcast. We're just strictly talking about COVID-19 vaccine from a place of passion to provide information and to inspire change or to inspire knowledge and better understanding of what we're talking about. We're not here to tell you what to do or to give you medical advice. You need to still go back to your doctor for that. So just want to put that out there for everyone. Right? Is that fair to say, doctor?
That's fair enough, so that they will not be like, oh, Dr. Johnson said,
I
shouldn't do this. No.
Exactly. Yes, I know there'll be people like that. So I like to do these kinds of disclaimer for certain topics.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Thank you. So let's get right into it. Have you taken the vaccine? And if not, why not?
Good question. I've not taken the vaccine.
Okay.
When I was doing emergency medicine, I'm always in the hospital. I would have taken it long ago. But now the scheme of things now, there's a schedule we are following to ensure that nobody is missed out of the whole thing. So from next week, we're going to phase 2C. So everybody, if you're a medical doctor, work in a community, you run from the office, medical office assistant, anybody who start going, they can now put their name down to get the vaccine. Okay. So this week, next week, then I can put down my name and then get the vaccine. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us what are those vaccines that are available to us in Canada? There's names going on in the news: Pfizer, Johnson Johnson, tell us Moderna. What is available here in Canada? And what is the difference, in layman's language, what are the difference between some of them?
Okay, good. I'll try as much as possible so that I can let everybody know there's a lot of things going on. Quite confusing too.
Yes, it is.
So currently in Canada, we have 3 main vaccine. The last one will be coming in by end of April. The first one that we have is Pfizer vaccine.
Okay.
That one is here. It was the first one I got into Canada. Then we have the Moderna vaccine. Now, those two vaccines were the first to come off the shelf because of the way they were produced. Because I'm sure a lot of things about genetic things have been flying around there.
Yes.
So Pfizer and Moderna were the one we used the modified RNA method of production for them. So it was easier and quicker to produce them. Now the other two, one is already here, is the AstraZeneca one, is also produced from adenovirus. Let me just put it that they use the normal long process that will produce ordinary vaccine, which is adenovirus, to produce the AstraZeneca vaccine. So that one is also here. And also, hopefully by the end of the month, we'll get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that will come at the end of the month. It's also produced in the same way that your AstraZeneca was produced, using the adenovirus to produce them. So they take a longer time because of the method by which they were produced. They were produced using the old method. The first two were produced using the new method.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got that. So what is the efficacy levels like for these 4 vaccines that you mentioned?
Good. Now, there's a lot of things going on now.
Yes.
Let's start with let's start with the Moderna vaccine.
Okay.
The Moderna vaccine, you have to get 2 shots of it.
Yes.
Now, when you first get the first shot, the level of efficacy is about in the 70s. But say for you to get the full efficacy of 96%, you have to get the second dose. And the second dose, you have to get it within 2 weeks. That was what they told us when it was produced. Why I mentioned that is because down the line, we're going to talk about now, they say you can go back in 4 months, which is the new thing that's good. And that's created a lot of things. Anyway, we'll talk about that.
Sure.
And then for you to attain that efficiency, you need to use that interval by the producer, 2 weeks after the first one. The Pfizer also is about 96%. You need to get it, the first dose, followed by second dose within 3 weeks to get the maximum efficacy, which is 96%. Okay. For your AstraZeneca, interestingly, even if you get 2 doses and the first one, and then 3 weeks later you get the second one, the efficacy of that is 68%.
AstraZeneca? 60%?
Yeah, 68%.
Okay.
Johnson & Johnson. Now we're going to talk about, when we talk about efficacy, does not mean they can't protect you.
Right. We're going to get to it. Yeah. Because maybe we should get to it right now, because if you say 68%, I'm just like, no way. I'm not going for AstraZeneca.
Exactly.
Right?
It does not affect the way it protects you against the virus. It's just these are the things they found out. And that's why you see that the other 2 vaccines are going back to that. You know what? You can get the first one, and then after 4 months, you get the second dose.
Okay.
Because they found out either way, the efficacy we want to achieve should be 60-something. And if we get the first dose, you already crossed the 60-something. Let's give another person that does not have the second dose, does not have any dose at all.
At all, yeah, exactly.
That we create a community immunity that everybody gets the vaccine. Everybody's at the level of 68-67% prevention against the disease. The infection will go down.
Absolutely.
So now it's like, let's spread this thing across. Johnson & Johnson too, the range is at 64%. The advantage of Johnson & Johnson is that it's only one jab.
Yeah, so out of all 4 of them, Johnson & Johnson is the only one that they poke you once. Yeah.
And that's the one
that's
coming from UK, I guess. And there's been some feedback that's the only one that's been tested against the resistant strain from the UK strain.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but that one is just one job. And
so these vaccines, are they going to be effective for the variants of COVID-19?
Good question. Were they tested against the variants? The first three we mentioned were not.
Okay.
But now when you say, are they going to be protective? They're going to be protected basically.
Okay.
So even if you get the variants, you'll still be able to fight it, or you'll still be well protected and not getting any vaccine at all.
Yeah, because your body is going to learn a little bit about the strain and the...
Okay. Yeah, so the strain is just like, okay, you're fighting somebody that was tall, and the method of you fighting that person is you punch the person on the face, right, and the person will fall down.
Yeah.
Then another person coming is a bit taller than the person.
Yeah, or taller, yeah.
The same method is still punching, but you just have to stretch your hand longer to get to the face. But you still use the same method of punching. It still works.
Makes sense. Makes sense to me. So we know that many people are very skeptical about any of the vaccine for various reasons, and rightfully so. You know, I want to come home to my African people, my Black people, why they're skeptical, and I want to debunk some of those myths right away. Okay, again, they have every right to be skeptical, not discounting that. However, we need to face facts here. So this myth that, you know, coronavirus does not affect African people, the sun is very hot in Africa, and so, you know, the vaccine is not going to, you know, make it, or not the vaccine, rather, that the virus is not going to survive under the heat, and there's all kinds of concoctions that you can mix and drink and ingest and all of that, and that will fight against the virus. So that's just a few. Can we address some of those types of myths?
Honestly, thank you for that question. Unfortunately, people are dying from the viral infection, and huge and large number of people are dying because of this idea that our immune system is so solid like rock that the virus cannot penetrate. It's not true.
It's not.
That the sun is so hot that if the virus enters the blood, the way your blood is hot, the virus will run away. It's
not possible.
It's not possible. The virus is having a field day in Africa, unfortunately, because more and more people are not even using the protections. They're not maintaining social distance. Some of our African countries, when you see them, the way they throw in parties, the way they throw caution,
it's so scary.
It's huge. It's scary. So, one, the hot weather does not kill the virus. Two, our immune system is not so solid like rock that the virus cannot enter. It's not true. Okay. A lot of people are trying to take a lot of concussion in Africa to see if they can prevent the virus. And, well, there's a lot of information on the internet. Ivermectin, so many of these drugs, they work, they do work. People use it in Africa and they recover. I've had friends who got infected in Africa and they just decided to use it. And they have their own regimen.
Wow.
And it worked. And they recovered fully before they came back.
But that doesn't mean that it might work for the next person, right? Because our bodies are wired differently.
So when I talk, so we're not immune to the virus. The virus is here, and we're not immune to it. In fact, unless your immune system is good enough, we're actually even more prone to the complication of the virus. Because when you look at an average African, when you look at the other diseases they have to fight with, when you look at the kind of food they eat, when you look at do they go for checkup, some of them are walking around the place. They don't know whether they're diabetic.
They've never been to the doctor for an annual physical, like never.
Annual physical. And then suddenly they get the virus. They be like, oh, this is typhoid. Boom. Many people are dying. And because they don't do checkup as well, you don't know their immune status. So it's a very, very difficult situation. We're not immune because we have dark skin or hot environment. We are not immune. We need to protect ourselves.
Thank you. So you're a pastor, and I want to talk about this. There's also information out there, which I think is inaccurate, that taking the vaccine means you're going to get the mark of the beast. It's even hard for me to talk about it without laughing, you know? You're going to get 666 and, you know, you're going straight to hell. And, you know, you and I have been talking offline. So there's been some videos circulating out there going viral that, you know, you don't get the vaccine because if you do get it, you're going straight to hell. So as a pastor, please talk to our Christian folks about this.
Thank you so much for that question. Interestingly, it has come up in our Sunday school as well. Because at the point, so many people say, no, I'm not going to get the virus. It's the mark of the beast. But you see, the Bible will tell you that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Yes. If everybody will sit down and go and read the book of Revelation and study the timeline, you will notice some patterns, that some marks will not come until rapture has taken place.
Yes.
So there's a process, there's a timeline. Everything goes sequentially. The devil cannot just turn the timeline and say, God, I'm just going to give them mark before you rapture them. He has no control over that. So you see people say, oh, when you get the virus, when you get the vaccine, once you get it, boom, like that, you can't rapture again. You're mark of the beast. It's not true.
Yeah.
The mark of the beast was well explained. The timing is going to happen. What are the events that's going to happen? When the mark will come? If you refuse the mark, what are you going to suffer from? Things like that. They're well written in the scripture. But you don't get those things unless you know the scripture. It doesn't come by night. You read. It's a people perish, not because of lack of knowledge, lack of knowledge.
Yeah, we have to read. I'm going to be doing a podcast around reading. I think it's important that we spend more time educating ourselves. I know that as a Nigerian, I don't want to speak for the whole of Africa, but at least in Nigeria, we're highly educated people. We love to go to academic school. Okay, so formal education, but informal education, I'm not sure how much we do about that. Like, we need to spend time reading for ourselves, be it the Bible or anything else, and not just take information we saw on WhatsApp because somebody else sent it to us, right?
There's a lot of information because
too much information.
And I think we're in an age where information just flies everywhere.
Yeah.
Information, I can wake up now and say, oh, I'm going to start my blog. I call it Johnson's Fact. And then if I have followers, I just tickle their ears up. This is Johnson's Fact.
Yeah.
And then when I start giving them, and I know what people want to hear, I put it there. And then I see my followers, they tell me, oh, these are the demographic of my followers. I know what that group of demographics need. Boom, boom, find them. They are converted.
So important what you're saying about educating ourselves and going out there and researching information for facts and not just for controversial information. Okay, so I want to get into some of the technical pieces of the vaccine to the best of your knowledge. So in simple man's language as much as possible, because I want all of my audience to be able to understand this, including much younger people, like teenagers, for example. Can you also discuss for us in layman's language the terms for gene editing and RNA, because you mentioned that earlier, how people, because, okay, so this is coming from people saying that when you get the vaccine, your DNA will be rewritten. It, like it will be altered because it alters your DNA because they're somehow genetically modifying you through the vaccine. So this is where this is coming from. So I want us to address that myth as well, or help us understand how, if anything, actually is impacted when we take the vaccine in terms of our genetics.
Do you notice something everybody said, oh, it's going to modify your DNA?
Yes.
But the vaccine is working with RNA.
Okay. And what is the difference again for layman?
Now, when you look, let's start with amoeba.
Okay.
And that's the only animal with one single cell, right?
That's right. They taught us that in school.
It has a cytoplasm and it has a nucleus.
That's right.
Anything that will change the amoeba to change into something else, maybe we'll change to amor gari or something, has to go into that nucleus. Because inside that nucleus is your DNA. Inside the nucleus is our DNA, okay. Now, the other thing that's around your nucleus is cytoplasm.
Okay.
And that's why you have your RNA and stuff that sends protein and let your body react. Now, when you get the vaccine, it works within your cytoplasm because it wants to stimulate your cell to make sure that if anything lands on the body of your cell, your body can react to it that, oh, this virus is it, and it can kill it. So it does not get to your nucleus.
Because it's outside the nucleus. It's in the ectoplasm, as you mentioned.
See, simple. That's the simplest. Now, and that's the one they talk about, the RNA vaccine, which you have that from Moderna and from your Pfizer. In fact, when you look at your Moderna, it's a modified. If you look at the spelling of the name Moderna, you see MODERNA.
Yes.
that tells you modified RNA. That's how they got the name.
Oh, I did not know that.
So you see,
Okay.
so it's just modified RNA, not DNA.
So how are
see.
people getting it confused? Like, I mean, RNA, I'm not a biology student and, you know, I only took very little biology, but I think I get it.
It's a crazy time. Did you notice when this virus first came? Remember, you are going to buy tissue paper. We still don't know. Everybody was buying tissue paper, and you go to Walmart, you go to everywhere.
It was sold out. There was no toilet paper anywhere. That was the first thing to sell out. It was so confusing.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, Dr.
And then
Johnson,
everybody,
you woke up right there. You woke up. We just got woke, basically.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I go to a meeting with some of my colleagues. I said, "Did I miss a memo?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" I said, "I didn't buy tissue paper." Well, everybody's buying tissue paper. Should I go get tissue paper? And they were like, "We don't understand this concept of tissue paper that is going out of style."
Yeah.
People are buying it and they were fighting. And then
it was amazing. Like, oh man, like I can't.
That's misinformation. If you ask people tomorrow, why did you go buy tissue paper?
They won't be able to answer that.
Yeah. Well, they bought a lot in their warehouse.
Yeah, people were selling it on Kijiji. I can't even like.
You buy 3, I'll give you 1 for free.
Exactly. Oh man, like. So,
because of that misinformation, somebody will just come up and say, "Oh, once you get this vaccine, you start growing homes."
Oh my goodness.
Then everybody say, "Oh God." And then I say, "Oh," so there's a lot of conspiracy theories.
This tissue paper business is an excellent way to help us understand why we really need to stop confusing this whole RNA and DNA thing. Like, we just need to stop with it already, because like you said, if we go ask all the people who bought the tissue paper right now, I don't think they have any reason. As a matter of fact, they probably don't. They have no clue who told them to go buy all those tissue paper. And what are they using it for today?
Yeah, they saw their neighbor buying tissue paper. Oh, you've not bought tissue paper. Oh, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I had people tell me that.
I can't give you. I can't do this for my family. We don't know how long we're going to use the tissue paper for. And then the person got out of panic, start begging. People are driving from shopping malls to shopping mall looking for tissue paper. And they were willing to pay any price. And it was not even made of gold. It was just
No, it was not. Thank you so much for helping us debunk that myth around RNA and interference with DNA. So thank you for helping us debunk that. So I want us to start getting into immunity and head count and things like that. So after getting the vaccine, whichever one that, you know, gets offered to us, I guess, let me ask first, do we get to pick the vaccine that we take when we get there?
Now, interestingly, before when we first started, so that because of I want to believe the government wanted to counter the lot of misinformation out there.
Okay.
Because some people are like, "Oh, I'm not going to get Moderna. Moderna, I heard, is bad." The name is
AstraZeneca was the next one.
Moderna was like, bad name. Yeah. Pfizer looks cool. So they say, "Man, you can't choose any vaccine.
Okay.
You just book, and when you get there, they'll tell you, okay, you're getting Pfizer."
Okay, but at least they'll tell you what you're getting when you get there.
No, they'll not just point you. Yeah,
oh, okay, good.
"Oh, yeah, EJ, so good to see you. You look good. I give you Pfizer. Yeah. Oh, you look bad. I give you what now."
Yeah.
So that's why initially they're not even telling, but now they're telling. Okay. If you call pharmacy, if you call any doctor's outlet and say, "Look, I want to go and get the vaccine," and they say, "Which one do you have?" They say, "Oh, I have Moderna. You can come get Moderna." Or they say, "Well, I have AstraZeneca." Or we're giving out the Pfizer. Now you can. I think initially it was more because of so much misinformation that people didn't want to get whichever one because of the names and what people have said about the names. And there'll be me saying, "Oh, Bill Gates is the one that owns Moderna, is using to track people's life." So many things. So there was so many. We're in an information world that is not regulated. Everybody has a cell phone, and everybody can start any blog, any video channel. So because there's no regulation,
post it everywhere. Yeah,
post it everywhere. So now, but the truth is that now they'll tell you if you want anyone, they'll do. And I think all of them are coming together to agree on something together, which is the immunity level.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
the efficiency level. Initially, they were trying to say, oh, if you get the Pfizer, the first dose, second dose, you'll be 96% protected. Yes. But the question is that do we need 96% protection? No.
Okay.
See, so I think that's why Pfizer, Moderna went back to the drawing board and look, we need to vaccinate everybody so that.
So why don't we need 96% protection?
Because you also stimulate your body to fight it off.
Okay.
So whether you stimulate yourself to 96, you still fight it off.
Absolutely.
But
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
If you get 68%, the virus comes, you still fight it off. You still need to fight it yourself. So the whole essence of the vaccine is to sensitize your body that if this virus comes near you, you go after it.
You know how to combat it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know you talked a little bit about this early when you kind of dissected, and thank you so much for doing that, dissected the 4 different vaccines, Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, and went to get the first shot, second shot, all of that. So I want to talk about what the research shows about immunity and whether there is a possibility of reinfection after you've gotten either the 1 shot or the full vaccine, both shots.
Whether you've gotten the first shot, whether you got both shots, you can still get the viral infection.
Wow. But, people are upset that why are you giving us all these vaccines if I'm still going to get the coronavirus after the fact?
It's just like your flu vaccine.
Okay.
When you get the flu vaccine, you still get flu.
Fair enough. Well, sometimes,
but
not always.
You.
But yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's fair. And the way the flu hits you is different than if you didn't get the vaccine at all, because I've had both. So I agree with that one.
Yeah. So you see, why we encourage everybody to get the flu vaccine is that if you have this flu vaccine, you get it, your morbidity, sickness is dropped.
Yes.
How badly you have infection is lower. The chance of you dying from the influenza virus is low as well.
Yes.
The same thing with this COVID virus. It's a virus. The chance of you dying after you get the vaccine,
so why don't people do that comparison? Like, why don't we think about it like that?
No, but I wouldn't blame the people.
Okay.
It is the way it was advertised to the people. When they wanted to get people to get vaccinated, they were like, once you get this virus, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe. They're not giving the information that when you get this virus, you can still get a viral infection, but it's not going to be a bad infection.
It's not going to knock you out.
They wanted to sell it.
Yeah.
So when it came without force, and everybody, it's business also. The Pfizer were thinking, if you don't sell it that way, we might not get a lot of our customers. They were the first to come to the market.
Yeah, they were the first.
And then they realized that they got overwhelmed. They couldn't meet supply because they were the first to come to the market, and the whole world was asking for vaccine. They started struggling because they were like, we can't meet. Imagine you have 7 billion people in the world, and you want to give at least 5 billion of them to vaccine. You need to produce 10 billion. Where will you get that factory?
I wonder. Yeah.
It dawned on them that they did an aggressive advert about that vaccine, and they couldn't cope. Now that they want to say, you know what, you just need 1 shot, you are fine. That you can fight it from that point of view. So, I've had people get the vaccine today. Their friend got the variant infection, and they were exposed to the friend. The friend was positive. They got the vaccine on Saturday. They went to test their own infection on Monday, and they were positive for the virus. But they're not feeling any sickness. They feel healthy.
Wow.
They keep saying, because I had to call some of them, that I feel okay. I'm not feeling any symptoms. It's just that
that's amazing.
Exposed.
Well, that's a good thing. I was just going to ask how they were feeling. So yes, that's a good.
They feel healthy. The other friend feels sickly because they've not gotten the vaccine. Very, very sickly. That they were worried about the other friend.
Wow.
But then she gotten it. She's okay. She says that lab shows she's been exposed.
Okay.
But her immune system has so stimulated, has kept the virus at bay.
At bay, yeah.
There's no different symptoms.
Okay, so Now, based on what you've just said, I want to take it that this means that we're still going to have to wear masks and social distance and all of that after the vaccination.
Let's do this. If somebody has flu and start coughing, don't you tell them to cover their mouth?
I'll run away first. And then from over there, I'll be like, okay, cover your mouth.
Yes, before the coronavirus came and somebody has flu and they're feeling sickly, you say they should stay at home. When they're coughing, you tell them to cover their mouth.
That's right. We do.
We just standardize it now.
Okay.
So the chances of getting the flu infection is going to reduce because now people are now, during flu season, when people do a lot of coughing, they are protecting themselves. They don't get the flu vaccine. They don't get a flu infection like we had last year. We had low flu infection because I believe people are using masks. So those who have flu, normally that will produce flu, we're not getting it to people anymore. So it's protective. So social distancing, I have a feeling social distancing over time I just move away. But the mask might be like, if you're in a big environment, you're not comfortable, you're not sure, use your mask. And it will be all optional at the point to start saying, well, once they get the community immunity up and the infection drops to like, maybe we start seeing maybe 10 a day or 20 a day, then the rules will be like social distance wherever you think is okay. Use your face mask when you're uncomfortable. It will not be at your own discretion. So they'll put the power back in your hands.
Absolutely.
Instead of enforcement. And that's going to happen because that's the whole idea now they want to lock down Alberta is that they want to see, can we catch up on the vaccines? If we can catch up, now that they say, look, instead of giving the 70,000 vaccine to 35,000 people, Pfizer say, you know what, we can spread it. So instead of giving the 70,000 to 35, they can give it to 70,000 people. Let everybody get first shot.
Exactly, yeah.
So by the time they give the whole population of Alberta one shot, the infection just don't drop. The variant might be there, okay. The infection will drop.
So is that then the herd immunity then?
Yes.
Okay, so explain to us a little bit about that. I know you were going to get into it earlier. So what that means for herd immunity in a community?
In the late term, it just means that once a population is vaccinated, there's no room for the virus to thrive.
Okay.
Because there's no room for the virus to thrive, the production of it has dropped. And so there's not enough to go around. So only a few people get it and it goes down. Take, for example, you have 30 people, and out of them, 28 of them have had the vaccine. And now this virus needs a lot of people to multiply. It gets into, out of the 30, gets into 28 people, they already fight it off and they kill it because they've developed immunity.
Yeah.
Only 2 people. Now, 2 people indirectly also protected because they're not getting it from anywhere. At the point, they themselves, the virus have been dead, so they're not exposed to it. So it's also allows people who are not yet vaccinated to also be protected indirectly.
Okay.
Because the virus is not moving anywhere.
Yeah. So you're really protecting all the maybe small portion of people who didn't get the vaccine.
Exactly.
Wow.
Because are we going to get everybody to get it? No.
Yeah, not likely. It's just like the flu shot. Do everybody take the flu shot? I only started taking it when I first came to Canada. I was one of those people, uneducated
when
people.
I own it. I got it, but subsequently I develop immunity. I don't get it. I know when it's coming. I don't have to protect myself, and I'm fine. But when I first got in here, because the viruses are different.
Yeah, every year the flu. Yes, absolutely.
And they're always varied every year, right?
Yes.
So, and to tell you the truth, more people have died. They die from flu infection than we know before. It's just like now.
I saw
the whole attention is on coronavirus. Research will tell you more people died of flu.
Absolutely.
Seniors home because it's a virus, it will kill.
Yeah, I've seen the research around that, and I hope that people go check out what we've just talked here. Dr. Johnson has just been schooling us, educating us on COVID-19 vaccine and helping us draw some comparison and information with the influenza virus. And I think that's an excellent comparison and example that you've done for us throughout this conversation. So we're coming really close to the end of our conversation today. I'm just curious whether you think COVID-19 will be gone like in the next year, because there's people believing that, right away?
Straight, you see, last time we got like, once we get to 2021, virus will be dead. No, I say live your life. The virus is not going anywhere. The virus is not going anywhere. More viruses are going to come.
What do you mean? Like, what do you mean the virus is not going anywhere? Like, not going anywhere in the next year or two or
But it's going to be almost like your flu.
Oh,
eventually it's going to be like your flu. And you are going to just have to live your life
with the virus. So this is the air quotes new normal.
Yes, it's a new normal. I mean, I was making a joke to one of my patients that in 2019, if you walked into the bank with your face mask, the bank manager will pick up the phone and call the police.
That's right.
And somebody just walked in and wants to rob the bank.
That's right.
In 2020, just a year after, if you walk into the bank without your face mask,
they send you
the
out.
bank manager will call the police and say somebody's here without
the face mask.
Wow. See.
Amazing.
And that is going to be a new norm. And the new norm is that we have to live our life. We cannot live in bondage. You know, the amazing thing about this virus is that, yes, we're not belittling the effect. Take your time and go and look at the statistics. WHO published something not too long ago. 96% of people who got infected from this virus recover fully.
Yeah, 96% recovered.
But then you see, there's a lot of noise about probably the 4%. There's no recovery. Mm-hmm. And out of those 4% that are not recovering, they probably had underlying illnesses.
Medical issues, yeah.
And after that, those ones, a majority are seniors who have immunocompromised. Now, but you see, the news that sells faster is the news that produces fear, anxiety.
Absolutely. Yes.
It was when I was going to do a session with people, I had to go research. And you realize that how many people recover from this? You find that WHO said 96. Other studies shows 98% recover fully.
Wow.
If you get 98% over 100, have you not passed the exam?
That's A+.
Exactly. But you see,
you're doing great.
Now if you are like my father, then we go rest his soul. It will be focused on the 2%. So why did you get 100%? That's what the media, that's what they're saying. Oh, we should score 100%, but we can't. Even some other diseases, they don't recover 98%. So when you say, is this virus going to go completely? It's not going to go completely. It's not to scare anyone. It's just to tell you the truth. Because once you know the truth, it sets you free. Now look, this virus is not going anywhere. I need to live my life. I need to put things in place to enjoy my life.
Okay. So this virus is not going anywhere. Dr. Johnson is reminding us about this, as many other medical practitioners out there are also doing. In your medical opinion, then, can you just tell us, I know you've done that throughout this conversation, but just in a nice nutshell, why we should take COVID-19 seriously?
One, the reason why you have to take it serious, one, is it's a new virus and we have to build a community immunity herd so that it becomes something that we can comfortably live with without the incidence of infection rate. That's number one. That's why we have to take it seriously, because we're not just coming around to develop strategies around it so that we can live our life normally, however normal that will be. So it's an experimental phase that we're trying to figure out how can we live with this virus. And one of the ways to say, okay, if it comes this time, people are vaccinated. If you are coughing, you're sick, stay at home. If you know you're not comfortable, you wear your face mask, the infection rate goes down. Get your vaccination. It brings out the infection rate as well. It improves your herd immunity. It's going to be like your normal flu infection.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then we can live our life. During winter, when there is flu, people live their life.
Absolutely.
Don't they go to restaurant?
Yes.
They go on vacation. Mm-hmm. When they are cold, they say, I'm not feeling too good. You call your supervisor that I'm not feeling too good today. So what's wrong? And they don't come to work.
Yeah.
That's where we want to get ourselves to. That's why we need to take it serious now. Because the earlier we start taking it serious, the earlier we'll get to that phase that we can live with it without it disrupting our life.
Okay. I just feel like there'll be people out there who will say, you've just told us about the UN statistics, or was it WHO, around 96%?
WHO, yeah.
WHO, okay. 96% recovery, and only 4% died. And out of that 4%, there are older people and people with underlying issues. So I feel like there are people who will say, then why should we take it seriously if 96% are recovering?
So the reason why you take it seriously is that if you want to live what is close as normal, that the government will not keep saying we have to shut it down because the infection rate is going up.
Yeah.
And the infection is going back and forth. They keep, because they need to get it down to the level that is below a certain way that will not be distracted by it.
Yeah, so that hospitals too can, do other things. Yeah.
Because don't forget, all those recovered, particularly even those who have the severe infection, have to be in hospital. They have to deploy a lot of resources to get them healthy again. And those resources are being taken away from the other resources that we have used to take care of other diseases, like complication of diabetes, like cancer, like depression. Now we have to deploy those resources to make this. So it's taken from what we have used for other diseases. Surgeries are being postponed. People need surgery.
Absolutely. You can't do them anymore.
Because people have infection, they bring them to the hospital because they're so sick. Now they have to make sure that there's room for them to work with to make sure they recover to go back to that 95%. But the journey to keep it at 95% is consuming resources from other things that other people need to use. Now, we can't do surgeries because the bed for surgery
are going to COVID-19 patients. Yeah, exactly. So it's so important. What about side effects? So if you get the vaccine, what are some of the side effects, or are there side effects of any of those vaccines you mentioned?
There are side effects. I mean, I've seen quite a few patients that have side effects.
Okay,
some
such
people,
as?
And it depends on how strong your immune system is. I've seen some people who have very good immune system when they get the vaccine, the way their body reacted as if it wants to kill the virus. They were so sickly for a week that was like the body was fighting, not knowing that it's not the virus itself. People have run fever for a few days. People have become very lethargic. Some people feel tired. I've seen people who had injection and you can see reaction. They see the skin turn red, itchy. You give them some.
So those kind of typical things. But you're not actually getting the vaccine. The virus.
No, the virus. No.
You're not actually getting the virus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have we seen the complicated ones? Yes, we had one with the AstraZeneca one that people develop. So, and that's why it's important to let people know, to have the full information. And that's in AstraZeneca one, we struggled with it because few people who had it developed some weird blood incident.
Blood clot, I heard.
Blood clot, and they died. We've seen people die from it. And that's why we've reviewed it. It's okay. Why is it happening? What age group? Okay. It seems it's not good for anybody beyond this age limit. Okay. 55 and below, let's just not give them AstraZeneca because of the way they react and because of the clot we have seen is between that age group. The other people that we gave, they didn't have that reaction. Why they react? Is it because of their immune system? So let's suspend it for that age and below. Boom.
Yeah.
Well, everybody they've given so far, age 55 and above, they've not seen the same reaction. So it's like, okay, let's avoid that population. Give them Pfizer instead. Give them Moderna instead. If Johnson & Johnson come, give them that one. But AstraZeneca, we think will just work for those ones above 55. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Johnson. It's just been an amazing conversation with you, getting educated, getting enlightened about the vaccine. So I want you to leave us with one key message for our audience as we wrap up. So if there is one key message that you would like to pass on to our audience today, watching or listening to this conversation, what would that one message be?
The message will be, live your life with all the necessary precautions and get your vaccine. Why I said that is that we have seen more people dying and people affected with depression, anxiety. But live your life. Say, I'm going to live my life. Live it with the necessary precautions and get your vaccine.
It's so important because you said part of your work is going to the homes of senior citizens. And I imagine it's really difficult for them because they don't get to spend time with your family and grandkids and kids, So we really need to be reminded why we need to take COVID-19 seriously. There's so many loved ones that are passing away and having complications because of loneliness and not being together with family. So if we just do the right thing, like you said, take those precautions, we can then eventually get that community of immunity that we've just talked about, the herd immunity, so that we can hopefully live our life to some level of normalcy as any other, environment that we find ourselves in the middle of a viral attack or middle of a pandemic. So thank you so much, Dr. Johnson, for being on the podcast with me today. Super, super, super grateful and thankful for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a lovely day.
Thank you so much.